Make a table for your shoe patcher and make it much better. I made a table for my Chinese leather shoe patcher. It is 12 inches long and 10 inches wide. Now, one of the things is that when you're sewing something that's fairly small, it is very difficult to hold it with one hand, or if you're sewing something flat, to hold it with one hand and then to crank with your other hand. I would suppose that this is probably even harder for people who are left-handed. Of course, you're going to want to tend to crank that wheel with your dominant hand. I made this table using a piece of shelving that is usually 24 inches wide, long, and 10 inches wide. So you can buy these at any of your stores like Lowe's, Home Depot, or even, I think I bought this one at Walmart. It was very, very cheap. It's like $2. And you cut it in half, because if you go any further, it's gonna make it difficult to get in here and to crank and to have it go all the way. It can only extend. I could maybe have extended it by one or 2 inches, but now when you first take the shelf, you have to turn it upside down, or whichever side you want to have up, and from underneath trace this onto your shelf. Then when you cut it out, you have to cut it out the full width of whatever the front of the platform is here, because if you don't, you won't be able to clear it when you're going on. So then you have to keep this in place and then measure from your base to the bottom of that plate how high a piece of wood you need. I used pieces of 2x4, and first I cut them a little bit longer than what they needed to be. And then after that, I just reduced the height. I trimmed it by 1/4 inch at a time. I had a stop block on my saw, so this way I can make sure that all 4 pieces are going to be exactly the same. Now, to actually attach this to the table, at first I just use screws. Put this down. Now this is a very, very tight fit. I made it a very tight fit so that this way the table's not going to move around on you. And then to be able to get the table to attach, I used rails, which I attached to the inside of the legs. And I also put a crossbar front and back, so that this way this will not move in or out. So it's not going to have any wiggle or bind up, or I'll get caught. Now to attach it, I use screws with a washer welded to it, so that this way it's got a wider width, and this way when you slide your table on, the aluminum portion, the inside of the aluminum portion here, will actually fit underneath this here. Will fit underneath this washer. So there you go. That's how you put it on here. Align it first. Here you see that part clearing. then you take and you slide your table on all the way. Now you see this is a very tight fit. This is a very tight fit. I was going to make an attachment that'll, as soon as this slides in, it'll clip in on this spring activated. And here you see how the table fits. Now, when you make this table, you want to make sure that your platform, your metal platform, is a hair taller than your table. Because if it is not, then what's going to happen is, as you sew, then the teeth on the bottom of your walking foot are gonna brush up against this, and it's not gonna sew. It's not gonna advance your leather, and you're gonna have a big problem with that. So make sure that this is slightly higher than this. You can see here it's almost the same height, but it's just a tad higher on the metal part. Here in the back, it doesn't make a difference because it's not going to bind up your leather or any other material that you're sewing. Sewing on this is going to be a lot easier than without the table on. Now, I don't use a table for everything because obviously if you're going to sew inside of a shoe, you're gonna have to take this off and be able to slip your shoe in to the arm and be able to sew with the arm inside the shoe. Here's how much easier it is to sew using a table. This way you don't have to support this and hold this in ways that is virtually impossible. So here you go. Here you see how nice the stitches are. I even went over it twice. Having this modification on your foot makes it a lot easier. You will be able to sew perfectly straight lines and never have any problems with this. So you'll be much, much happier with this. So you're going to see on the bottom which one it is because I have several lines. But which one is it? It's this one right here. This is on the bottom. This is chrome tan leather. It is fairly thin, but you can sew many, many layers with this. I was able to sew veg tan leather, 7-ounce leather, which I did two layers with. You have to have a very, very sharp needle. I've gone to larger needles because before that I was sewing like with a number 19 needle or a 20 needle. Now I try to use 22 and 23 needles. So it'll make it a lot easier. It'll penetrate the leather better without breaking your needle. So try that and you'll see it'll work a lot better. Thanks for watching. Bye.